Hello, good afternoon, and a warm welcome to everyone. Firstly, let me take this opportunity to thank Techig.com for providing this platform for sharing my knowledge and experience on leadership. Welcome to the webinar on soft leadership, Make Others Feel More Important. I would like to share with you about soft leadership, which is a new concept I have coined. I am so honored to be with you today. Mahatma Gandhi said, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. When Mahatma Gandhi entered into India's freedom struggle, people just ignored him. Then when he started performing well, they started laughing at him. They just ridiculed the when he talked about non-violence and satyagraha. Then the people, those who opposed with his ideologies, they fought with him. Then finally, Mahatma Gandhi won, and he proved to the world that freedom can be acquired through uh, non-violence and peace. He showed to the world, he proved to the world, then he became Mahatma Gandhi. Finally. So that's how everyone undergoes when especially someone wants to prove himself or herself as a leader. Mahatma Gandhi was a great soft leader as India won independence through peace and non-violence under his soft leadership. Various leadership researchers, experts, educators, writers, consultants, and practitioners in the leadership domain have championed for specific styles and types of leadership. As a result, we have various styles and types in leadership, thus enriching the leadership domain. Similarly, here is a new concept, soft leadership. Let us look at its evolution first. Evolution of soft leadership. It blends the soft skills and leadership. It is leading through soft skills. Soft leadership emphasizes on the power of human resources, that is people. Previously, machine behind the man counted. Currently, man behind the machine counts. In fact, managing people is a great challenge for every leader, as it involves managing egos, emotions, and feelings of the people. Soft leadership helps in managing the people effectively, resulting in execution of tasks smoothly and successfully. Soft leadership believes in concern for people. Soft leadership helps in transformation of people. Soft leadership adopts tools such as negotiation, appreciation, persuasion, and leading through people skills. So let me share it with you how I got the trigger on soft leadership. Leadership is close to my heart. I am passionate about leadership. I have 3 popular blogs and I blog articles on leadership regularly. And my PhD thesis is about soft skills. I acquired my PhD in the area of soft skills, which very few people have done in this area. So while doing my research in soft skills, then I thought of exploring soft skills to apply with leadership and to evolve a new concept. Then while teaching organizational behavior and leadership to MBA students, the discussion often boiled down on leadership styles. Students said that there is need for a new leadership style. They often criticized the existing leadership styles. Then I thought over it during my teaching and training programs, and also especially when I interacted with EMBA students while teaching the subject on organizational behavior and leadership. Then while delivering leadership development training programs, usually we find heated debate whether leaders are born or made. And the debate gets extended to various styles of leadership. Some of the participants expressed their unhappiness over the existing leadership styles. Then I thought, okay, that means there is need for a new leadership style. That means they are not happy with the existing leadership styles. Then the current global dynamic environment calls for it. That means it requires a new style of leadership. The globe has become a small village. Cross-cultural aspects and diversity calls for soft leadership to walk the talk. And another reason for this concept is I am author of 21 leadership books. While writing, I get new ideas and I work on them. Then I am also a researcher at heart. I do a lot of research on leadership. So because of these triggers, I have explored this new style of leadership, that is soft leadership, and still I am doing very intensive research on this subject. Let us see what is all about soft leadership. It is a proportional blending of soft and hard skills with leadership. It focuses on the personality, attitude, and behavior of the people. It emphasizes influence, persuasion, and appreciation as tools to transform people. Soft leadership involves making others feel important. Soft leaders don't differentiate the status of others while communicating with others. Soft leadership is not a submissive leadership or a lame duck leadership but an assertive leadership. Assertiveness means it's the art of saying no firmly but politely. When you say firmly, it is known as aggressiveness. When you say softly, it is known as submissiveness. When you say firmly but politely, then it is known as assertiveness. So, soft leadership is not a submissive leadership or a lame duck leadership but an assertive style of leadership. That means assertiveness is an ingredient of soft leadership. Here is the definition on soft leadership I have coined. Soft leadership is the process of setting goals, influencing people through persuasion, building strong teams, motivating them constantly, and aligning their energies and efforts to achieve organizational goals and objectives with an emphasis on soft skills. It is based on the right mindset, skill set, and tool set. Soft leadership is basically people oriented, participative, principle centered, and relationship oriented leadership style. This style emphasizes more on transformation of people rather than on transaction of tasks. It believes in bringing out behavioral and transformational changes among the people and making a difference in their lives. This leadership style has proximity with the democratic, charismatic, transformational, principle-centered, authentic, spiritual, and servant leadership style, but is different one as the soft leaders are distinguished by 11 C's, that is character, charisma, conscience, conviction, courage, communication, compassion, commitment, consistency, consideration, and contribution to make a difference in the lives of others. Soft leadership includes trust, empathy, and assertive communication. This leadership is based on soft skills, people skills, and interpersonal skills. Let us see in the slide 5 how soft leadership is different from other leadership styles. There are various theories on leadership such as behavioral theory, integrative, participative, and so on. Under Blake Moten, it falls more on concern for people and less on concern for production. So let us see what is all about Blake Moten grid. Blake Moten managerial grid or leadership grid coined by Robert Blake and Jane Moten. They present 5 leadership styles: country club leadership, producer leadership style, impoverished leadership, middle of the road leadership, and team leadership. X-axis represents concern for production and Y-axis represents concern for people. Soft leadership falls in the quadrants of team leadership and country club leadership. For soft leadership, 9 out of 9 go for concern for people and 6 out of 9 go for concern for production. Hence, we can put it as 6, 9 for soft leadership approximately. That is 6 for production and 9 for people concern. Soft leadership is different from servant leadership, as servant leadership has 10 characteristics and leaders are servants. Soft leadership contains 11 characteristics, that is 11 C's. It is different from transformational leadership, which purely focuses on transforming the people. But soft leadership focuses on the style of leadership to make a difference in the lives of others. Soft leadership is again different from transactional leadership, as soft leadership emphasizes on more on people to get the task done. It is again different from situational leadership. Situational leadership talks about different strokes for different folks, different strokes for same folks. And soft leadership doesn't talk about that. Soft leadership believes in influence, persuasion, adopts soft approach in handling various challenges. Hence, soft leadership is totally different from other leadership styles. In addition, there are a number of weaknesses in the existing leadership styles, resulting in the birth of soft leadership style. Significance of soft leadership. Soft leadership blends the soft and hard skills with leadership. It connects and transforms the personality, attitude, and behavior of the people. It balances people and task orientation. It emphasizes on empathy, the ability to step into the shoes of others and look at the issues from others' perspective. It helps in employee engagement and employee loyalty, thus enhancing organizational excellence and effectiveness. It minimizes attrition and serves as an employee retention tool. Provides stress-free life. It encourages work-life balance. You manage your time effectively, balancing your personal, professional, and social life. Rich countries are impoverished with time. It helps in managing change. Charles Darwin once quoted, "Change is the only thing constant in this world." And also he added, "It is not the most intelligent who will survive in this world, but the people who are most adaptable to change can survive in this world." That was what said by Charles Darwin. So people often resist change. The soft leadership serves as a tool to facilitate change smoothly and successfully. So soft leadership is a really great tool to embrace the change and to to see to it that the things are changing smoothly without much resistance from various stakeholders, especially the people. It helps in managing complexity and uncertainty effectively. Soft leadership adopts win-win attitude. All stakeholders are happy. It is not win-lose, lose-win, or lose-lose. It is purely with an attitude of win-win. That means where all stakeholders are happy. Above all, soft leadership promotes fraternity and brotherhood. So we'll go on to slide number 7. 11 C's of soft leadership characteristics. Here are the 11 C's, which are the key characteristics, which are the heart of soft leadership. So let us see all these C's one by one. First C stands for character. The collapse of Enron, Lehman Brothers, WorldCom, and other companies reminds the world about leaders who lack character at their core. People sometimes blame business schools for producing such leaders without any ethical and moral values. However, we can't blame business schools for all the ills that happened. The problems often lie with leaders who lack strong character. Some of the global companies emphasize on character building during their leadership development programs. For instance, Hindustan Lever puts emphasis on character in its training programs. It has strong human resource management system. Mahatma Gandhi exemplifies on great character. He set an example through impeccable character. Remember that as a leader you are always under scanner. So second C stands for charisma. One of the greatest characteristics of soft leaders is their charisma. Soft leadership leaders make other people see themselves as more important and valuable. Charisma helps in connecting with others easily as people feel valued and pleased to talk to these leaders. The soldiers of Alexander blindly followed him because of his charismatic leadership. British soldiers marched towards victory during the Second World War under the charismatic leadership of Winston Churchill. Mikhail Gorbachev brought reforms through glasnost and perestroika. He put an end to Cold War between USA and erstwhile USSR through his soft leadership and created global peace by decreasing tensions. John F. Kennedy's inspiration call, "Ask not what the nation can give you, ask what you can give to your nation." All these leaders possessed charisma and inspired people. So third C stands for conscience. Conscience is one of the key components of soft leaders, as a clear conscience makes them stand out from others. People expect leaders to be ethical and responsible. Leaders must have a clear conscience to convince themselves so that they can persuade others. Dr. Martin Luther King, the civil rights leader, pioneered equality of blacks on par with whites through non-violence and peace. He followed into the footsteps of Mahatma Gandhi. Fourth C stands for conviction. Conviction is another ingredient for soft leadership. It is their convictions that take soft leaders forward and make their people move forward towards achieving their goals. These are leaders who died for their people due to their convictions. They never compromised and they stood rock solid despite stiff opposition and challenges and threats to their lives. It's hard to imagine leadership without firmly showing one's convictions. Aung San Suu Kyi is fighting for restoration of democracy in her home country, Myanmar. She followed into the footsteps of Mahatma Gandhi. Fifth C stands for courage. Courage is an integral part of soft leadership. According to Aristotle, courage is the first virtue because it makes all others possible. It doesn't mean fighting physically with or killing people. It doesn't mean being aggressive. Doesn't mean being aggressive. It doesn't mean fighting physically with or killing people. It doesn't mean being aggressive at all times. Mark Twain remarked, courage is resistance to fear, mastery of fear, not absence of fear. It's about standing by your values and morals and principles and policies despite being pressurized or threatened by others. Alexander the Great is a symbol of courageous leadership. Lee Kuan Yew brought Singapore from nowhere to number one prosperous country despite its dearth of natural resources. Lee Kuan Yew is a visionary and a courageous leader who followed through his soft leadership. Sixth C stands for communication. Leadership is about guiding people to accomplishing goals. Communication becomes the core component through which leaders connect with others. Leaders ideally need to adopt an assertive communication style and other styles from time to time, such as aggressive or assertive aggressive and so on, to make their leadership effective. Leaders can influence others through communication alone. It is through their words that leaders influence and inspire others to do seemingly impossible things. Assertive communication is the sister of soft leadership. The Second World War hero Winston Churchill was a great communicator. Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg speech, Dr. Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream, and Swami Vivekananda's speech in Chicago Conference of World Religions is memorable even today. They are all great communicators. Hence, communication is one of the greatest traits of soft leaders. Seventh C stands for compassion. Lord Jesus, Buddha, Mother Teresa are symbols of compassion. We can call Mother Teresa the mother of compassion. Mother Teresa helped lepers and others of the urban poor through her selfless service. She made an immense difference in the lives of poor and downtrodden people in India. In fact, compassion is an integral characteristic of soft leadership. It helps in connecting with others easily. People appreciate the leaders who care and touch them. Compassion means caring for others by ignoring your own interests. Compassion is not weakness. Compassion is about genuinely caring your people. It's hand-holding them without expecting any returns. Compassion commands great inner strength, courage and power. Eighth C stands for commitment. Soft leaders have another great characteristic, commitment. Commitment makes them command respect among others. It is their firm commitment towards their causes that wins acclaim from others. If you want your life to be successful, you have to be committed. For instance, when you love your family, you need to be firm in demonstrating your commitment. Commitment consumes your time, but it builds longevity in relations, not only in your family life but also at the workplace. A firm commitment towards your word and work makes you successful as a leader. Nelson Mandela's commitment to end apartheid in South Africa is laudable. He was jailed for many years, but he was committed to anti-apartheid movement in South Africa. Ninth C stands for consistency. John Wesley is noted for consistency in his values and principles. Leaders need to demonstrate their consistency so as to have profound impact on their people. Mahatma Gandhi maintained consistency throughout his life by sticking to non-violence and peace. Consistency is essential in every area of life. Consistency helps in leadership branding and memory recall. When we talk of situational leadership, we recall Ken Blanchard. When we talk of servant leadership, we recall Robert Greenleaf. When we talk of emotional intelligence, we recall Daniel Goleman. When we talk of self-improvement, we remember Dale Carnegie. These leaders have excelled and branded themselves in their areas of specialization through consistent behavior and leadership. 10th C stands for consideration. Consideration includes recognizing the good work done by others and appreciating it promptly and liberally. This is a trait of leaders with people orientation rather than task orientation. Transactional leaders are fundamentally task oriented, while transformational and soft leaders are people oriented and they care and consider others wholeheartedly. Consideration includes caring and respecting others with an empathetic attitude. It deals with stepping into the shoes of others and looking at things from others' perspective. Dalai Lama, the Tibetan leader, a Nobel laureate, is fighting for Tibet on peaceful means. He is fighting for the cause of Tibetans through uh, peaceful means, following into the footsteps of Mahatma Gandhi. So he is a great example of consideration. The final 11th C stands for contribution. Booker T. Washington is remembered for his contribution to make a difference in the society. Contribution includes precious time, money, energy, ideas, knowledge, and assistance to society. Genuine and selfless contribution is a big part of true leadership. People respect the leaders who contribute their best to society without pursuing wealth, power, or prestige. People often think that the contribution has to be in a big way. Too many little drops make a mighty ocean, and ocean is incomplete without the single drop, said Mother Teresa. Hence, contribute as much as you can and as far as possible. In fact, a small effort is better than no effort. A host of small contributions will add up to a large amount of difference for society. Hence, contribute your best little by little consistently, and you will be amazed at the difference that you make to the society over a period of time. Precisely, Mahatma Gandhi is associated with character, Mikhail Gorbachev with charisma, Martin Luther King Jr. with conscience, Aung San Suu Kyi with convictions, Alexander the Great with courage, Winston Churchill with communication, Mother Teresa with compassion, Nelson Mandela with commitment, John Wesley with consistency, Dalai Lama with consideration, and Booker T. Washington with contribution. Hence, we need soft leaders who are blend of all these leaders to take on the future global challenges. Apart from these 11 C's, the soft leaders must also possess other characteristics such as coordination, cheerfulness, comprehension, cooperation, and connection to connect with others to become successful soft leaders. So you can see the diagram on slide number 8 that contains 11 C's. All 11 C's are connected, and all 11 C's collectively constitute soft leadership. This is the diagram I have coined for this soft leadership, which is doing good globally, and it's receiving a great response across the world. Many great thinkers in the world, they appreciated this great and the concept of soft leadership, and number of articles have been published on soft leadership, and various prestigious journals have published, and even I have authored a book on soft leadership. So let us move on to slide number 9 and 10, where we can differentiate between soft leadership versus hard leadership. So it's like, persuasion versus pressure, transformation versus task, soft power versus hard power, soft tactics versus hard tactics, and David versus Goliath. So let me share a small story in this regard. David was a tiny man who wanted to take on the mighty Goliath. Goliath was a very strong man with great height. According to the biblical story, David was a small man and Goliath was a giant who started killing people ruthlessly on the battlefront. And David wanted to take on this mighty Goliath, so he was moving forward. When he was moving forward to take on Goliath, many friends of David who are short and little people advised David to stay away from Goliath because Goliath would kill him. To that, David said, He's so big, I can't miss him. That means he was so confident that Goliath, since being a giant, David won't miss him at all. That means he was so confident to take on Goliath. So finally he approached Goliath with a slingshot, and he hit on the forehead of Goliath, and Goliath fell on the ground. Subsequently, David beheaded Goliath and won the battle. So here, what counts is your willpower counts. It's not the size that matters, but the strength that matters. Size-wise, Goliath was a giant, and David was a tiny man. But size didn't count. But what counted at the end of the day was the stamina and the strength of David counted, and the attitude of David counted. So it is like, David believed in soft leadership, and I can say Goliath believed in hard leadership. So ultimately it's the soft leadership that prevails over the hard leadership. Soft leaders set personal example, they empathize with others, they believe in persuasion, negotiation, they believe in polite and pleasing way of doing the things. Leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, Mother Teresa, Martin Luther King, Dalai Lama, Aung San Suu Kyi, and corporate leaders like Jeffrey Melt of GE, Timothy Cook of Apple Computers are people oriented, they are soft leaders. We can take a few leaders as hard leaders who pursue the policy of fear, threat, and they believe in negative motivation, they believe in strict policy. Jack Welch and Steve Jobs belong to the school of hard leadership, who adopted character and strict policy. Succinctly, soft leaders are like plows, while hard leaders are like bulldozers. Soft leadership prevails over the hard leadership ultimately. So let us move on to the slide number 11. Dave Ulrich is one of the top 50 management thinkers in the world, whom I have approached him to write foreword for my book, Soft Leadership, Make Others Feel More Important. So he is kind enough to write foreword for my book that is selling good across the world. And also I requested him to create a grid for my new concept. So he is specialist in leadership code. So he has used that leadership code to connect all my 11 C's, and you provide a very amazing leadership code, and you can view on the slide number 11. He mapped all 11 C's which I have discussed onto leadership code. Let us look at them. Leadership code, first let us know what is all about leadership code. Leadership code consists of 5 dimensions, such as strategist, conveying the rule number 1, shape the future; executor, conveying the rule number 2, make things happen; talent manager, conveying the rule number 3, engage today's talent; human capital developer, conveying the rule number 4, build the next generation; and personal proficiency, conveying the rule number 5, invest in yourself. All 11 C's belong to the dimension of personal proficiency, that is, invest in yourself. The 11 C's that I have created, Dale said that they belong to the dimension of personal proficiency. So let us explain let me explain all the 5 dimensions. Dimension 1, that is strategies. Strategists answer the question, where are we going, and make sure that those around them understand the direction as well. They not only envision but also can create a future. They figure out where the organization needs to go to succeed. They test these ideas pragmatically against current resources, that is money, power, organizational capabilities, and they work with others to figure out how to get from the present to the desired future. Strategists have a point of view about the future and are able to position their organization to create and respond to that future. Second dimension, that is executors. The executor dimension of the leadership code focuses on the question, how will we make sure we get to where we are going? Executors translate strategy into action, make change happen, assign accountability, know which key decisions to take and which to delegate, and make sure that teams work well together. They keep promises to multiple stakeholders. The rules for executors revolve around disciplines for getting things done and the technical expertise to get the right things done. Right. Third dimension, that is talent managers. Leaders who optimize talent today answer the question who goes with us on our business journey. Talent managers know how to identify, build, and engage talent to get results now. Talent managers identify what skills are required, draw talent to their organizations, engage them, communicate extensively, and ensure that employees turn in their best efforts. Talent managers generate intense personal, professional, and organizational loyalty. The rules for talent managers center around resolutions that help people develop themselves for the good of the organization. Fourth dimension, that is human capital developers. Leaders who are human capital developers answer the question who stays and sustains the organization for the next generation. Talent managers ensure shorter term results through people, while human capital developers ensure that the organization has the longer term competencies required for future strategic success. Just as good parents invest in helping their children succeed, human capital developers help future leaders successful. Human capital developers throughout the organization build a workforce plan focused on future talent, understand how to develop the future talent, and help employees see their future careers within the company. Human capital developers ensure that the organization will outlive any single individual. Human capital developers install rules that demonstrate a pledge to building the next generation of talent. But what found was at the heart of great leadership was what we call personal proficiency, which is the fifth dimension. Effective leaders can't be reduced to what they know and do. Who they are as human beings has everything to do with how much they can accomplish with and through other people. Leaders are learners from success, failure, assignments, books, classes, people, and the life itself. Passionate about their beliefs and interests, they expend an enormous personal energy and attention to whatever matters to them. Effective leaders inspire loyalty and goodwill in others because they themselves act with integrity and trust. Decisive and impassioned, they are capable of bold and courageous moves. Confident in their ability to deal with situations as they arise, they can tolerate ambiguity. So, in the slide number 12, let us see the Dawes interpretation. According to Dave, all the elements map onto the personal proficiency dimension. He further adds, by summarizing psychological literature around personality, attitude, perceptions, and emotional intelligence, I laid out the conceptual underpinnings of leaders who demonstrate personal proficiency or soft leadership. This is the essence of 11 C's through leadership quote from Dave. Let us move on to slide number 13. Make others feel more important. It is unfortunate to note that people often look for elevating themselves than elevating others by focusing on their own strengths and merits. People have become so busy that they don't find time to care others. The world has become ruthless with cutthroat competition. God bless us life. If everyone thinks of contributing something to others by whatever the possible means, most of the problems will be resolved and people will feel better, bigger, and greater. However, very few people have time to think in these lines as they don't find time to think even. They are used to routine activities as the way the most of the people don't even breathe properly due to high stress levels. Where will the world go? Who will save the world and the mankind? Therefore, make a habit to spend some time daily to listen to people and empathize with them. It comforts them. If possible, observe people around you and talk a few good things and appreciate them. Who knows, the man who appreciates might be at the brink of disaster. Here is a short story to share in this context. It's the story of making others feel more important and saving their lives. There was a young woman who was walking on the street. A man who was passing by saw the woman, stopped her and shook her hand and said, "Hey, young woman, where are you going? You look stunningly beautiful. Have a great day." The stranger departed subsequently. The woman was shocked at the stranger, who shook her hand with warmth and greeted with a great smile by saying that she was looking great. In fact, she was coming back from medical store with a small bottle in her hand wrapped with a cover. She was under great depression as her boyfriend cheated her and married some other woman. She felt let down and depressed. She lost all her confidence and felt inferior that she was not good looking, and probably that led her boyfriend to dump her and search for some other beautiful woman. Under depression, she went to a medical store, bought poison to end her life. When she was returning after buying a small bottle of poison, the stranger shook her hand, praised her beauty, and wished her a great day. She went to her home, looked at the mirror whether she was really looking beautiful. She looked at the mirror a number of times and started smiling by thinking, yes, I am beautiful. What the stranger said was right. My deserted boyfriend is not lucky to enjoy my beauty, and she gradually built her self esteem and developed confidence. Finally, she threw away the bottle containing poison, and she went on building a great career with a good man and became an international celebrity. The story reveals the importance of making others feel important, thus saving them from the brink of committing suicide. We don't know how much difference we make by praising and elevating others. It is essential to appreciate and elevate others. Learn to look at the similarities rather than the differences. Learn to look at the strengths rather than the weaknesses, because what goes around comes around. Here are a few nuggets to make others feel more important. Demonstrate energy and enthusiasm while communicating with others. Listen to other person with right body language. Step into the shoes and empathize with others. Nod in agreement appropriately. If the other person is in distress, don't disturb and allow him or her to ventilate problems. Then present your solutions. When a person achieves something, praise liberally, but be specific and objective to avoid sounding it like a flattery. Identify the key strengths of people and praise whenever and wherever possible. Adopt mirroring technique, where you need to convert your body language as per the mood of the other person, as it helps in connecting with him or her and making him or her feel comfortable and creating a common ground. Remember that people have different needs, egos, emotions, and feelings. You can't adopt a fixed approach or style to touch them. You need to identify each person and situation and issue to touch and strike emotional chord with them. Remember the names of the people and talk to them by addressing with their names, and they feel truly valued for remembering their names. Remember their important events and dates and greet them. Focus on little things as that matter a lot for others and they feel more important. Gift small items like keychains, flowers, or diaries, or books if somebody is interested in reading books, so that people remember you for a longer time. Handhold and support people when they are in problems. Encourage others. It costs you nothing except time. It comes back with tons of love and affection. Praise promptly and publicly. Don't delay when someone does a good work. Praise in the presence of all. It serves as a motivator for the person, and others will also demonstrate same behavior. The praise has to be specific and objective. Smile often, as it connects you with others quickly. It's rightly said that a smile is a small curve that sets everything all right. Above all, treat others the way you want to be treated. Remember that it takes several years to build relations but takes a few seconds to break it. Hence, present positive attitude and praise and make others feel more important to touch and connect with them emotionally and successfully. Let us look at appreciating your employees. When you want to be successful at the workplace or in the family life, make others feel important. It is true that people don't care how big you are until you care them. Mary Kay Ash once remarked, everyone has an invisible sign hanging from their neck saying, make me feel important. Never forget this message when working with people. Hence, the leaders need to spot the good contributions made by their subordinates and appreciate them, as it encourages similar good behavior and contribution from others. Failing to do so results in decreased morale, and finally the employee leaves the organization. It is aptly said that employees don't leave organizations, but they leave the leaders who don't recognize their contributions and appreciate. Hence, appreciate your employees publicly by spotting their contributions and behavior to leave good impact in the employees as well as on others. Choose your words carefully. Words are magical. You don't know how much impact you make on others. You don't know what cues others receive when you speak to them. You don't know how much difference you make for others. Hence, choose your words carefully and with positive intentions and elements. Be careful while choosing your words. While praising, use second person such as you, and while criticizing, use third person such as they, he or she, and it. For instance, you can say in this way: if you work hard, you will succeed. If people don't work hard, they will fail. This sounds better. Then the other person is saying in this manner: if you work hard, you will succeed. Otherwise, you will fail. That means what? When you criticize someone, you can't use the second person. Especially the negative things when you are speaking, use the third person, like he, she, they, and so on. When you want to praise, you just praise by saying that you are good, you are best, right? In addition, always use positive statements such as you have all ingredients to become successful, sky is the limit, you look very great, and so on, to touch and connect with others easily. Slide number 14. Soft leadership is the future leadership. When I undertake organizational behavior teaching sessions to EMBA students, I explain 4 models such as autocratic, custodial, supportive, and collegial model. The autocratic model was not appreciated by employees as superiors behaved like bosses and are task oriented. It was like hire and fire, and subordinates were solely at the mercy of superiors. In custodial model, job security was maintained. Gen Y appreciates collegial model wherein leaders can handhold, coach, and groom them. This leadership works. People want soft approach. Employees and subordinates want soft leaders to lead them. Employees appreciate this leadership style as it adopts soft approach, soft tactics, and soft tools and techniques to get the task executed effectively. Raising expectations and aspirations of the people presently calls for this style, and changing times and technologies demand the style of soft leadership. The days of command and control are gone. These are the days of communication, negotiation, facilitation, and coordination to get the things done. Remember that leadership should be centered on others and it should not be self-centered. Future belongs to soft leadership. Leaders must be polite, pleasant, and assertive. Use soft and polite means to get the task executed. It's the age of partnership, not followership. Remember that leadership is not a badge of honor, it's a job involving responsibility towards people. Leaders spend 3/4 of their time with people, hence, they need to care for the needs and concerns of the people to establish credibility and influence them and to lead from the front. We have had enough leadership styles from autocratic, democratic, delegative, and so on. It is time to adopt a new leadership style, soft leadership. In this new millennium, we need a new leadership style that blends all C's such as character, charisma, concise, conviction, courage, communication, compassion, commitment, consistency, consideration, and contribution. Hence, let us explore soft leadership style to take mankind to greater heights of glory. Let us hand over better society to our next generation so that they can be proud of us. Let us become good ancestors. Coming to the conclusion, that is slide number 15. We all crave for attention and appreciation. William James rightly remarked, the deepest principle of human nature is a craving to be appreciated. When you want to grow, learn to recognize the potential of others, make them feel important. Always look at their strengths and appreciate sincerely. Soft leadership involves making others feel important. Soft leaders don't differentiate the status of others while communicating with others. They don't belittle the low-level people. William Gladstone and Benjamin Disraeli were the Prime Ministers of England, who were men of strong characters and convictions and soft leaders at the core. They often made others feel more important. Soft leadership involves making others feel important. Soft leaders don't differentiate the status of others while communicating with them. We all crave for attention and appreciation. When you want to grow, learn to recognize the potential in others and make them feel important. Always look at their strengths and appreciate sincerely. Some might ask, in a world where people don't find time for themselves, how can they find time for their family, friends, and the society? Yes, it's true. As we have responsibility towards our children, we have equal responsibility towards our future generations for passing on to them a society with values and virtues. Hence, it is time for us to find time to think, act, and make a difference in the lives of others, to take civilization to greater heights of glory, not in terms of material but in terms of ideals and ideas. The message of soft leadership is to make a difference in the lives of others. In the slide 16, you can look at the resources. So here you can see the Amazon link where my book, that is 21 Success Sutras for Leaders, is doing good globally. It has been published by Pearson's. It's well appreciated by top CEOs in the world, and you will also find the links about this topic, soft leadership, in Leader to Leader journal. And there are 3 blogs wherein I blog on leadership and success, so you can click the links to know. And here is the Twitter, then LinkedIn profile, and also Facebook page. So you can go to my Facebook page, and if you like this webinar, you can like my page. You can, even if you Google with my name as Professor MS Rao, Facebook, means it will come automatically, and you will find a lot of articles on leadership, and if you like them, you can share with your friends and colleagues, and you can like this page if you like the content in it. Then you can post your feedback. Slide number 17. I would appreciate if you could post your feedback in the Speakerpedia and in Facebook page. Links are provided. Then slide 18. So writing a book is not a solo work. There are people who are involved in making the book a grand success. So I acknowledge, I thank the various people, great people in the world, who are responsible for the success of my book. Soft Leadership Make Others Feel More Important, especially Dave Ulrich, who's one of the top 50 thinkers, who wrote forward for this, and linked my 11 C's with leadership code, in which is proficient. And Frances Hazelbin, she was awarded America's highest civilian award, Presidential Award. She provided endorsement. Then Vijay Govindarajan is known to many in the world. He is the world 3rd ranked management thinker. Then Subodh Chaudhary is one of the top 50 management thinkers. Patricia Miller, Steve Anderson, Dr. Tony Alessandra. So all these people, they have provided their kind endorsement, and they provided inputs for this book. So they made this book a great success, and as a result of their kind contribution, the book is doing good across the world, and the concept is also picking up very fast. I'm sure this concept I can use it for global peace and security in the years to come. And the objective of coining this leadership is to help the present leaders reinvent themselves with the changing times and technologies. My intention is to give credibility and sanctity to this leadership style, so that soft leadership is going to prevail and rule in the years to come. I am doing a lot of research in this area, and you will be finding more research findings, ideas, insights from my 3 blogs and from other articles being published globally. I am sure it will evolve like any other leadership style gradually. So coming to the closure of this session, I request you to vote in Thinkers 50, because I have an ambition to be one of the top 50 management thinkers in the world, having other 21 books on leadership and around 250 publications to my credit, with 32 years of experience, and I provide a lot of leadership training programs. So I would request you to visit Thinkers 50, and you can cast your valuable vote on me. You can write my name as Professor MS Rao, and I thank you very much for your kind time, and really I enjoyed sharing my knowledge with all of you, and thank you very much, and have a great day. Bye.